Let's talk about memory. First off, what is it? According to Merriam-Webster's online dictionary, memory is the power or process of reproducing or recalling what has been learned and retained, especially through associated mechanisms, or being able to bring to mind learned or observed information previously stored. So, why do we remember? When we experience life through our senses, meaning what we see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, it creates sensory memories lasting only a moment or two. Think of walking from one class to the next. How often do you see people, objects, or actions, or hear noises, yet you probably can't describe what you saw or recall what you heard? Basically, it's all a blur. Even though you may not be able to recall all that you saw, heard, smelled, tasted, or touched, you still had experiences which were exposed to your sensory memory. But when one of those experiences has meaning, like you are actually interested in the discussion you are having with a friend, or learning something in class and see how it's applicable to you, or you realize it is important to learn, then the information instantly becomes a short-term or working memory lasting about 10 to 20 seconds. Take these students for example.
Hey, Alex.
What's up, Marcus?
How's it going, man?
Good, man.
How's spring break?
Pretty good. How was yours?
Good? Pretty good.
This is my friend Miley.
Hey,
Hi,
Marcus.
lovely
New
meeting
Zealand.
you.
Marcus. I'm Marcus.
She's from New Zealand.
Yeah, I'm from Michigan.
Oh,
Like New
well,
Zealand?
I love New Zealand.
You like it here?
I like it here a lot better though.
Yeah.
Loving school.
Well,
It's very
it's
educational.
good to talk to you, but I gotta go to class, man.
Yeah, me too, man.
All right. See you later.
It's lovely meeting you.
Gosh, what's her name?
Unfortunately, that memory can only last so long due to limited space and short-term working memory, hence why he so quickly forgot her name. Now, the ultimate goal is to transfer the information from short-term working memory to long-term memory, which basically has unlimited space. This is accomplished when memories have a lot of meaning to them, based on the depth of efforts put forth to remember, or associating something we already know. So to answer the original question, why do we remember? Well, quite simply, because we want to. In other words, something was important or interesting to us, and we then put forth effort to remember. How do we put forth effort to remember? Well, the answer is meaningful associations. One of the best tools is using mnemonic devices, or in other words, mental tricks. There are many mnemonic devices, but we will highlight 4. Acronyms, acrostics, rhyming, and pictures, also known as visualizing. Okay. If you like short and sweet, then acronyms are for you. Basically, you remember just 1 or 2 words. Acronyms take the first letter of each word which needs to be remembered and creates a new word. In some cases, it has to follow a sequence or go in a specific order. Here are some examples. PEMDAS, which stands for parentheses, exponent, multiply and divide, add and subtract. All you have to do is remember one word, PEMDAS, to know the order of operation of how to solve math problems. Here is another example. Have you ever heard of the guy named Roy G. Biv? Well, remembering that name is a simple way to remember the colors of the spectrum: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. For, say, maybe an art or a chemistry class. A couple other examples that may sound familiar to you are CGCC, FBI, and BFF. By using acronyms, they can help to remember processes like the order of operation, sequences, and random groups of words. Memory in this case has a meaningful association to usually one or two words. Remember the short and simple word, like PEMDAS, and then you can remember the entire order of operation. Now you give it a try. Let's say you are in a history class studying the reasons the North beat the South in the Civil War, and you have a hard time remembering Army, Navy, industry, railroads, and money. Try and come up with an acronym that will help you remember. There is no right or wrong answer, but one example is remain, or by saying, because of the North, the South will remain as one nation. Another great mnemonic is an acrostic. Acrostics are similar to acronyms in that they too take the first letter of each word, but instead of creating one or two words, a sentence is created. This can be really helpful when you have to remember a sequence or specific order and the first letters do not make sense. For example, do I have any musicians out there? Well, many musicians have to learn the treble clef, and it can be difficult remembering the lines. If I was to make an acronym out of the lines following the specific order, E, G, B, D, F, well, that wouldn't make much sense. But if I turn each letter into a word and create a sentence, I can allow it to make sense, like this. Every good boy does fine. The short, silly sentence helps me to remember the lines in the treble clef. Let's take a look at the order of operations again and say the acronym PEMDAS just doesn't do it for you. So let's try an acrostic. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Maybe that silly sentence has more meaning and is easier for you to remember. Who remembers as a kid learning our directions? North, east, south, west? Maybe you remember learning the silly little sentence to never eat soggy waffles. Because we all know soggy waffles are the worst. Okay, so those were some good examples, but I'm sure you're asking how, where could you use this mnemonic in a college level course? Maybe you have to remember the bones in the arm in your human anatomy and physiology class in no particular order. Humerus, lateral epicondyle, medial epicondyle, radius, and ulna. See if you can figure out an acrostic or silly sentence. Here is one example. Men rarely hold little umbrellas. Or maybe you have to remember the 6 nutrients found in foods in your nutrition class, namely protein, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. Take a moment and see if you can create an acrostic. Here is just one example that can work. City police find very manly wallets. For many people, the silly saying of an acrostic helps them to remember words or sequences, especially if the specific order doesn't make sense as an acronym. Another way to remember is by rhyming. Here are some examples. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Helped in history to remember his voyage. How about I before E except after C? This rhyme helps in spelling for many words, but unfortunately, not all. One last example. Lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. How screws, bottles, light bulbs, etc. open and close. Let's say you are in the nutrition class again, and the acrostics, well, they just don't work for you. Then try creating a rhyme using protein, carbohydrates, fat, vitamins, minerals, and water. Give it a try. In case you struggled coming up with a rhyme, here is just one example. Carbohydrates and too much protein can sometimes make you fat, yet vitamins, minerals, and water will do the opposite of that. Let's talk about our final mnemonic, visualizing. And one way to do this is by using pictures. We simply associate or visualize what is familiar to us with pictures. Visualizing is a great way to help those who are visual learners. Take the Civil War example. Instead of the acronym REMAIN, let's visualize and associate all 5 words with familiar pictures, and then place it on something familiar like a baseball diamond, like this. In the end, it is easier to visualize and remember what one overall picture looks like than to recall what each smaller picture means. Now let's go back to our friend and not only create meaning, but apply one of these new mnemonic skills to associate the name. So we can place it in our long-term memory.
So you man that rain the other day.
Hey,
It was
Alex. How's it going?
Oh, hey, what's
man?
up, Marcus?
How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Pretty good. How was your spring break?
It was good. How was yours?
It's pretty good. I didn't do much, but
Oh, well, this is my friend Miley. She's from New Zealand.
hey,
Hi.
Miley.
Lovely meeting you, Alex.
Miley. My name's Marcus.
Lovely meeting you, Marcus.
Yeah.
Well,
So, you're from New Zealand?
I am from New Zealand.
How do you like it here so much?
I like it. We
Yeah.
were actually just talking about the rain the other
Really?
day. It was crazy. I missed that the most.
yeah, I'd love to talk Marcus, but it's, I gotta go to class.
Okay, man. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, it's
So
nice.
do I. Lovely meeting you.
Miley.
I hope you noticed how Marcus repeated Miley's name and how that simple action will help him remember her name because he used the rhyme technique. The attention given to her name by creating a funny rhyme went into long-term memory in a more attentive and meaningful manner to help him recall her name. Now let's test your memory. I have 3 questions to see how well you remember this video. Question 1. Can you remember the names of the 6 nutrients found in food? Question 2. Can you remember the 5 reasons why the South lost to the North? And question 3. To loosen a bolt, which way do you turn the wrench? I hope you answered all 3 questions correctly. Counseling services are available on campus if you would like additional help in creating mnemonics.